I think the last time you filmed us, we had maybe 30 people coming along to training every week, and now we have easily 50, 60, 70 people sometimes on a popular week, which is a lot of people to fit onto one football pitch. But very much a nice problem for us to have. Definitely the highest attendance that we've ever had at training. And then that's now translated into us setting up more teams. So we have the GFSN 11-a-side team, which anybody can play in, anyone of any gender. And then we have a 7-a-side team for marginalised genders, which is women, non-binary people, trans men as well, and trans women, of course. So anyone apart from cis men can play in that team. We've also got a 5-a-side team, and we've set up a community team for people who maybe don't want to play in kind of the competitive leagues that we're playing in. And that's been 7-a-side, 9-a-side, 11-a-side against like-minded teams where the rest of the club has kind of come along and turned up and not just cheered on the Dragons, but also the opposition as well, and it's kind of complementing people, and it's very much kind of like the joy of football for queer people. And we're now setting up a second 11-a-side team as well, and I think our secretary has also been involved in setting up a league, sort of a pride league for Wales and the Southwest. So expect that to drop very soon, and we're going to start that season, well, next season, it's summer now, so yeah, a lot has happened. So I think the last time you filmed us, we were playing in the park, and we were training in the park during the summer because we couldn't afford to train at a 3G facility all year round. Now this will be the second year that we do train at a 3G facility all year round. We can afford to do that, which is amazing. And yeah, there were a few things that came into that. A lot fewer rolled ankles when you're not in a park, a lot less dog poo on the ball when you're playing football. But I think as well, when you're in kind of a designated sports facility rather than a park in the middle of the city, I mean, you're assured of your own space. You're not going to get kicked off by kind of a lot more macho teams, which we've had that in the past, particularly our marginalised gender. We'd just be playing on a pitch, and then this group of lads comes along and is like, "Get off the pitch," which is always fun. So I think people feel a lot safer kind of in that designated facility, but also with our gender non-conforming people. You know, you're out of the public eye as much. You don't have the public like walking their dog past you and kids coming along on bikes. So yeah, it definitely feels like a much more kind of, it is much more enclosed. It feels like a safer environment, and maybe there's something to do with the fact that there's a bar there. and it shows the football for before and after training.
Definitely gonna help.
Yeah, could be a factor.
Yeah.
We are a safe space for everyone, to be honest. Anyone who's marginalised, anyone who feels like they never fit in elsewhere. It's not just for LGBTQ plus people, but obviously they are kind of centred in the way we talk to each other. Like, there is LGBTQ plus subculture that you get to come and be part of, and we have members who, before they joined us, they said, I had the LGBT me and I had the football me, and they had different friendship groups, and I could never be all me with each of them. And then I joined the Dragons, and now I have like a ready-made friendship group of people who are exactly like me with really similar interests to me. And I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah, definitely.
We also play quite casual football, so although as the club grows we are developing a more competitive 11-a-side team, we also have a very casual ethos. So you can play once a month if that's all you want to play. You don't have to play any matches if you don't want to. You can play all of the matches if you want to. There's no expectations on commitment, there's no expectations on fitness or ability level. I think our oldest player is a 60-year-old trans woman. Amazing. And our youngest player is an 18-year-old trans guy. So it's a really, really welcoming environment for everyone. And without exaggerating, it has saved lives. We have at least 3 people who have said to me in the last year alone that they were at a point of considering ending their life, and then they joined, and it gave them community and it gave them something to look forward to every week, and now they're no longer in that place, and it literally saved their life. So if yeah, I think that's a pretty good reason to join us and support us, or just watch the video and kind of find out a little bit more what we're about. So I was part of the bidding team. So I went out to Munich in March last year, having been asked by Lou Englefield, who is the director of Pride Sports, which is the organisation which runs the very kind of well-known Football versus Homophobia campaign and also the Football v Transphobia campaign. And she asked if I could go to Munich to this. It was the annual General Assembly for the European Gay and Lesbian Sport Federation. And she said, could you put some feelers out that or let people know that we might want Cardiff to be bidding to host a Euro Games. So I did, and over the next 12 months I got roped into writing up this bid with Lou and someone else called Jess Williams, and we went to Antwerp for the next Argo, so this was in this year now. We presented the bid, we were up against Munich, and we won the bid to host the 2027 Euro Games by 1 vote.
Oh my god.
It was the most nervous I've been in quite a long time, and we presented the bid on the Saturday, we won it on the Sunday. There was a bit of networking and kind of talking to people and persuading people to come to Wales. We explained that Wales is different to England in terms of it being a bit more of a refuge and a safe place for queer people compared to England and central government right now. And yeah, I think it's been, I mean, Lou is working full time on this now, so she's kind of organising a lot of it, and I'm part of sort of an organising committee, and we're working out how exactly we're going to host 6,000 people in 2027. Yeah. But it's been an amazing opportunity to talk with Welsh Government and Cardiff City Council, and I think having things like the LGBTQ+ action plan have been really helpful, where we can kind of draw on that and say, you know, this is something that that will go hand in hand with delivering upon the LGBTQ+ action plan. But also as a result, I set up the LGBTQ+ sports network for Wales, which connects all of the LGBTQ+ sports teams across Wales. So it's not just football, it's rugby, netball, korfball, parkour, wild swimming. So there are loads of teams there, and then from that we're able to create kind of like a really solid network, and then sort of a subgroup of host teams that will be hosting their sport for the Euro Games in 2027. So Cardiff Dragons will be the host team for football, which is very exciting. And I think it's been really interesting because the Euro Games has never been hosted in the UK before. And what that means is that we're going to, well, we've put the Euro Games on the map of a lot of queer sports teams here in the UK, and they had never really heard of it because it was much more a thing among mainland Europe networks. So I think it'd be really interesting to see that the change and the sort of engagement of queer teams post 2027, but being able to use the Euro Games as kind of this vehicle for more social change and for more inclusion. You know, it's a self-ID policy, so trans men can compete in the men's category, trans women can compete in the women's category, non-binary people, there may be a non-binary category, or they may choose to compete in whichever, you know, they'll be able to compete in a category of their choice. It won't just be kind of like binary men and women. So I think it's very special that it's here in Wales, because Wales is a very nice size to make that happen. We can literally speak to people who work in Welsh Government, you know, head of sport or ministers or people who've been involved in writing the action plan. And I'm not sure we would have that opportunity in England. And I think that it's really helped bring a lot more visibility to the LGBTQ+ community, you know, not just in sports, but, you know, we'll be putting on a cultural programme, for example, and having an opening and closing ceremony. And hopefully it's kind of brought at a time when LGBTQ plus rights, particularly trans people at the moment, are under threat over in England and from the central government, it's an amazing opportunity to, it's almost reassuring that these people in Wales have our backs and they're happy to like engage in a self-ID event like that. Expect a couple of big ambassador announcements.
Okay.
You know, we are ambitious with what we're wanting to deliver with the games. So we're not just going to be like keeping it at a grassroots level. We want to get some very cool people involved, so keep an eye out for that. We have a really busy month. It's June now. We've already had an end of season social, which ended up in a couple of gay bars. I think we had a match the next day at the weekend, and there were a couple of slightly ill people.
Not the food.
It wasn't from the food. I think being there for everybody in the club, it's not, this year honestly it feels a bit different. It doesn't feel as much like a party this year when the government themselves are offering guidance that removes support for trans youth and that is demonising trans women. So in terms of Pride Month this year, my message to anyone is to speak up for the most marginalised. Pride can be a party, but it's also a protest, and we do have things to protest right now with various aspects of the Equality Act 2010 being under threat. Trans women have always existed. Trans women have played for us for years. We're not going anywhere. They can keep talking. We still keep training every week. We're not affiliated, so we can do that. But yeah, one of the most marginalised communities who already have awful mental health, who already have a lot of stigma facing them, are really, as I say, being demonised. So this Pride Month, I would love for our gay allies, for our straight allies, for cis people to offer support, to check in on their trans friends. If you don't know anyone who's trans, post something on your social media in support of trans people, because you don't know which future parents you could be influencing in terms of mindset. You don't know who's feeling uneducated and who's on the fence on this debate. And you could have a really positive impact there. And as I say, I think Pride this year is less party, more standing up for our community.